Today we're catching some sun and waves with Linda, a QHS member whose life is as vibrant and refreshing as a seaside breeze. What currents brought her to the sunny shores of the quantum shift? Let's surf behind the scenes to see the waves she's been riding.
My name's Linda, and I go by Elsie because there's a lot of Lindas, and I'm going to tell you my story. My dad had a small business, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, and we lived in a neighborhood, so we did lots of playing outside, very active. We played baseball and kickball and ghost in the graveyard at night and hide and seek. So I loved my childhood. We all went to Catholic schools all the way through high school, and my oldest brother actually left the home when he was 18, and so I was only like 11 when he left. So we didn't have a real strong relationship, but he left and went to the seminary and actually became a Jesuit priest. And his mission was to go to Africa, and he actually ended up in Nairobi, Kenya, and did fundraising and started a high school for boys and girls that either their parents died of AIDS or they were sick with AIDS. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of his story, but I'll tell that. But we came from a very strong Catholic family. I guess that's what I was trying to say. In high school, I played the trumpet, the French horn, and in marching band, I was a drum major. And then when I was a sophomore, 15 years old, my father was killed in a very tragic accident, just very sudden. And my 2 older siblings were pretty much out of the house at that time, and I had a brother that's 2 years younger than I am. And so my mom kind of raised the 2 teenagers, but we made it, and it was a strong family unit. I went to college to become a teacher. My sophomore year of college, when I was home for Christmas, my best friend fixed me up on a blind date. Well, that worked out really well. My husband was 4 years older than I was, and he was already teaching. So we ended up meeting in December and got married the following October. Now, I did finish college and I did become a teacher, so that was pretty cool. Then we were blessed with a daughter and son, and I now have 2 granddaughters. But when I retired, my husband said, I can't stand this cold. I'm out of here. So we moved down to coastal Alabama. We bought a foreclosure. We totally gutted it. And my husband was very good at construction and things. And so he put in new plumbing, new electrical. We changed the floor plan. And that was 13 years ago. So we've actually been down here by the Gulf for 13 years, and we kind of call it our paradise together. Kind of cool thing, this October 11th, actually, we will celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary. Yeah, so that's really cool. My health journey. About 40 years ago, my husband and I got involved with a health and nutrition company. And that began our education of vitamins, minerals, alkaline water, free radicals that we weren't, that we had to combat. And we started doing a lot of natural supplements and eating a lot healthier. Then in November of 2017, I ended up in the emergency room 2 different times, and they kept doing a lot of testing, trying to figure out what was going on, because and finally I ended up with a cardiologist, but the cardiologist said my blood work was so normal that it was abnormal. It's like there should be something in your blood work. So they did lots of testing because he just wasn't sure what was going on. Well, finally he said, I really think there's blockage. And so he went in and did a cath and found out I had a 98% blockage and a 90% blockage. So I'm diagnosed as coronary heart disease, but I feel so healthy and everything. I just feel like I shouldn't have that label, and I don't accept the label. But he was able to just put one stent in because the two blockages were close together. That was really a shock to me because I felt like I'd really lived a healthy life and, did what I was supposed to do. But he felt like it was probably genetic because he said, you just don't have any of the symptoms to have had this happen. But that was several years ago. And then in April of 2022, I joined QHS. And so I started with the big black device and worked through and now use the touch a lot. But my learning continued, my education, my health education continued. I participated in the Waves of Wellness calls, got involved with the Wow, I Can Cook. I loved that. The key calls. And I feel like all of that was getting me ready, or is, and still is getting me ready for the QArc. I feel like I've made a lot of positive changes already. There's probably still a lot more to go. I gave up sugar about 2 years ago because of you, Tracy, actually. And unhealthy carbs, and lost about 20 pounds and just feel great. My last blood work, which I just had about 2 weeks ago, everything was normal. So that's really makes me feel good. Kind of in closing, I feel strong. I feel happy. I just turned 70 about 2 weeks ago. And I really believe I feel the way that I did when I was in my 40s. I have some inflammation still, but the devices and the touch really have helped that immensely. I still have little aches and pains occasionally, but nothing to stop me from being active. I actually take 14 classes a week, exercise classes at our local community center, and I just love that. I love being active. I love feeling strong, my body feeling strong. Post QArc, I want to stay very active and maybe add some things that I haven't done for a long time. Hiking, I've kind of given up. I do still bike ride quite a bit, kayaking, but I think there's some things that I might want to attempt, that my body will allow me to do. And I want to be, after the QArc, I want to be a good example for my friends and my family. They've not really come on board with this, but I think as they continue to see the changes in my physical body, but also my spirit and my mind, that I'm hoping I will move others to join QHS and become, more involved. So I want to thank Tracy, and I want to thank QHS for helping me on this journey. And I guess I will see all of you out there again post QArc on the flip side.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.